Now we will set up a cutscene camera for when our door opens. So when we pick up the 3 keys, I want a camera that looks at the door, shows the door opening. Once that's done, back to the player so the player can continue playing. So the player understands what happens when he picks the third key. I'm going to start by creating a Cinemachine virtual camera, which I'm going to call door cutscene camera, and these virtual camera will look at, actually we had the debug mode enabled from the previous video. Let's just disable it, and the camera will look at the door and will also follow the door. It doesn't necessarily need to follow, but let's do it like this. And then I'm going to position the camera to something like this position here. Something like this, so we can have a look at it when it opens. Now, with that camera set up, I will go back to my script, to my door script, which for now I'm only playing the open door animation, and I'm going to create a couple more variables here. One of them is a Cinemachine free look, which is our player camera, and we are missing a reference here. And the second variable is my Cinemachine virtual camera, which is my door camera. Okay, and the way that we handle which camera we are using on Cinemachine is by switching the camera's priorities. So if I set, when I open my door, if I set my player camera priority to say 0 and my door camera priority to 10, that means that the door camera now have priority. So let's check out what's gonna happen right now. Back to Unity. I'm gonna have a couple more variables on my door controller script, which I need to set up. First of all, my door camera and my player camera, which is a third person camera. Okay, so let's see what happens when I pick up the 3 keys. So here's my player. I'm gonna pick up key number 1, key number 2, and key number 3. And when I pick key number 3, you see that the camera has smoothly transitioned from the player to the door, and that was no good. I just wanted to immediately cut, and we never got back to the player camera. You can see my player walking around on the background. So first, let's fix the transition between player and door camera. I'm going to stop the game. So in order to change the transition from that smooth transition, I go to my main camera, to my Cinemachine brain component, and the default blend, which looks like is in out, I'm just going to change to cut. And now, if I run my game again, and I pick up the 3 keys, 1, 2, 3, I immediately cut to the door, but the 2 problems now is I'm not going back to the player camera, and I can still control the player while the cutscene is playing. So let's work on that now. So the first thing is, let's go back to the player camera, and I'm going to do that by immediately, well, first I'm going to create a coroutine called switch to player camera, and I'm going to copy this name because I'm going to use it in a second. And here I will wait for seconds, and I wait for my animation open door dot length. So I'm going to wait for the length of the animation. Once the animation is done, I will set the priorities back to player camera. I'm going to set it to 10. To door camera, I will set it to 0. And immediately after I start playing the animation, I'm just going to call my switch to player camera coroutine, and that should do the trick. Let's see. Gonna press play. And 1 key, 2 key, 3 keys, open door, back to the player. The open door animation is way too fast. Let's slow it down a little bit. Let's put like 30 samples per second. That should slow down the animation. One, two, three, and their door open, and back to the player. Fantastic. So in order to stop the input from the player in my cutscene, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my player controller script, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a private boolean enable input, and I'll have a public facing attributes for it. And there, set goes value. Okay. And I will set enable input to true on start, and both on my update and fixed update, I will check what is wrong here. Oh, start input enable, it's enable input. Both on my update and fixed update, I will first of all check if I have enable input. And then back on my door controller, I will create a couple of events. Unity event, and again we're missing the reference. On door open begin, and Unity event on door open end. And over here, after I start the animation, I'm gonna call on door open begin invoke, and once I switch the cameras again, I call on door open end save both scripts back to Unity, and then I'm going to set these events on my door. So on door open begin, I'm going to get my player controller, and enable input, I'm going to set it to false. And then on door open end, I'm going to get my player, again player controller, enable input, I'm going to set it to true. Let's press play and see what happens. Get 1 key, 2 keys, 3 keys, and now I'm no longer controlling my character, even though the animation is still playing, but at least I'm no longer controlling the character, and this I won't be able to see the character moving in place when I'm in the cutscene, so that's okay. Great. So now we have this control, and I'm being attacked by the AI. And in the next video, we'll start to work on the game over conditions, but both for winning and losing.